So that's the first one. The second one is something that's really, really cool.
Howdy. Welcome back to Dion Talk. A couple of weeks ago, I did this video on when to replace a water heater in a rental, which honestly is not much different than when to replace a water heater in your primary house. But I was thinking, sometimes we have supply chain issues or contractor delays, depending on how busy they are. And a tenant might call with a problem with a water heater. So I have Matt, the Lumberjack Landlord here, who does product reviews on his channel. We've done a couple here too. And he's got a couple tips or tricks that you can use if you have a problem with your water heater, but aren't able to instantly have it replaced.
Yes. So Dion, as always, thanks for coming and hanging out with me, or letting me come hang out with you. This is worlds uniting. So even though you're retired. But the cool thing is that there are actually a couple of options that people have. Most people don't know of them because they are actually usually only tools that are available in supply houses. However, they are also, in some cases, you'll find one of these in like a Home Depot or a Lowe's, but in large point, the one main I'm going to show you is actually usually only in a supply house. The good news is most supply houses, yes, you guessed it, they're actually available there, but almost always sold out because it's a big trick of the trade. So the best place to get these is Amazon.
The first trick you have, I didn't know about. So you're actually helping me too. The second I've used, but for very different reasons.
Well, then we will start off with the second for very different reasons. So the second for very different reasons, I would guess, is probably JB Weld. JB Weld is available in pretty much everywhere, whether it's Home Depot or Lowe's, but we'll actually have a link for you there for Amazon because you can actually get a special deal when you buy 2 tubes of it. And this product is absolutely fantastic. It's literally like a putty, but you can actually, I always recommend using those nitrile gloves that you can buy a box of them, box of 30 of them, pretty cheap. But we always have those available in our fix-it kits. But this JB Weld is absolutely fantastic. You can take it right out of the tube. You break off a piece, you roll it in your hands like it's putty, and then you attach it. The really cool thing about it being a putty is that it can actually go around edges. And so when you have a water heater pipe that's leaking in a little tiny spot, it's great. You mash it up, you roll it, and you put it on that little spot. Now, don't get confused. This isn't repair. This is purely emergency situations. Put it there. You've already made the phone call to your plumber or to somebody saying, hey, this is what's happened and occurred. This will actually stop it, but for how long? The good news is that JB Weld, you can actually read the instructions. It's been pretty successful for me. And so it's stopped issues for me for literally days or weeks until I've been able to get a replacement in there. So I would just read the instructions, make sure you're applying it properly. But this stuff, not that expensive, usually less than $10 a tube. So pretty good. Now, how did you use this, Dion?
So there was a point in my life where I did not have enough money to afford vehicle repairs.
But not today.
Today, I actually can afford to have somebody fix my car. So when you have a spark plug strip out in a car,
Oh, man.
you can actually hold it in place with JB Weld, and it will last a few weeks until you actually get to a pay period where you can afford to have a repair done.
It's true.
The mechanic's not going to want to see that that's what you did.
They are not.
But it'll work.
Yes. So it is. It's a great product. It really does a good job of hardening. It actually cures in about an hour. Set time is 5 minutes. So usually what we'll do is if it's being put on a leak, we'll put it on that leak. We'll hold it there for the 5 minutes. And then we know, and we're not running out of the place once that's done. We're watching it. We're monitoring it, making sure that, okay, over that hour, it's going to cure. It's going to harden up. And usually it's done a pretty good job for us. I don't think I've ever had anything immediately break away, but obviously over time it has. But that's why this is a great emergency thing to have there in your kit. The mistake that a lot of landlords make is that they find out they have the emergency and then they have to go and figure out what to use. Major, major, major mistake. These are two things that you must, 1000% must. If you are a landlord and you self-manage on any level, you must have these in your toolkit because, again, it's literally an ounce of prevention that can prevent a ton of cure being needed. So that's the first one. The second one is something that's really, really cool. And so this is called a magnet patch. And so what this literally is this is two rare earth magnets that are screwed together, and they're screwed together to actually hold in this little gasket stopper. So this actually compresses when you put it up against an oil tank that's leaking. When you put it up against a hot water tank that's leaking, you can actually literally take this piece, push it up, it compresses this, the fluid will not leak past this, and how this patch is held onto the tank is with these rare earth magnets. This is a super slick device. This actually saved me about a $10,000 cleanup. This was huge. We actually got the call from one of our tenants saying, hey, I'm kind of getting an oil smell or a gasoline smell. They're a first floor unit. We actually said, okay, we're coming right over. We ran right over there. Sure enough, we have pans and what we call diapers. They're not real diapers, but they're oil tank diapers. I'm sure you probably had these at the shop too for trucks.
Right. Spill control.
Yep. So spill control stuff. We would put those underneath our oil tanks just in case, but every year we go to inspect our oil tanks. Well, when we actually were going for that inspection, we found that there was one where there were some red drips, and it's usually number 2 diesel. There were some red drips actually on that diaper. And so when somebody then called the next day and said, I think I have that, there's a smell here. We're like, that's interesting. So when we checked everything out the day before, when we do our annual tank check, we actually said, you know what, we're not seeing anything active. We're not really seeing what's going on. There were a couple of drips there, but it could have been just from, where the gasket is. And so we were kind of waiting to see, where exactly is it? We couldn't really find anything. But when we actually got that call the next day, that leak had worsened. We could actually see where it was coming from. And it was as simple as going to the truck and grabbing one of these. These cost about $25. They're on Amazon. That's where I buy them, because most plumbing sites and most plumbing supply companies, they don't sell these. They sell their own name brand of these, where you pay $20 more for their brand of it. And all it is a rebrand of usually this product made by Rector Seal. So this is a fantastic device. Like I said, it costs about $25. And this has actually been on that tank. We still have everything deployed underneath that tank, but we're waiting for that tank to be swapped out. And we're literally waiting for the parts and pieces to be able to do that. So while we have all of the other things in place that would actually take care of if this thing gave way, we check it every 2 or 3 days. We've actually not had any dripping. We've not had any leaking. And this little awesome device has been holding that drip. And again, if that oil tank were to go and it created a massive oil spill in the basement, that would be literally tens of thousands of dollars of cleanup, EPA reporting, all this other horrible, crazy stuff that you never want to do. So for $25, again, this isn't a long-term solution. This is, I'm calling my guy, but I'm going to put this on it in the interim. In most cases, when he shows up on site, all he's going to do is put this on. That's all he's going to do. He's going to slide underneath the tank, see where the drip is. He's going to feel around like this, see that he stopped it, and then he's going to push it up, and then it sticks to the bottom of the tank. And if you're going to have a problem, you'll recognize it then, because it'll start dripping more, because it'll start dripping around this thing, because that means that the bottom of your tank is actually compromised. And get ready, because you got to get that oil out of there and into something else. So this is almost always what somebody's going to show up with when they're trying to quote unquote patch your tank. And then this is meant for on anything that has a rounded edge, because this doesn't really work on a rounded edge. But like I said, these are 2 staples in our landlord kit that you cannot live without. It is $35 worth of product that could save you tens of thousands of dollars of a mess.
Thank you very much for that, Matt. If you're watching this and you're going to own rental properties, I really think you should go to lumberjacklandlord.com, go to his YouTube channel, and watch his product review videos. That's where I pick up things like this that make my life a lot easier. Until my next video, thanks for coming to my Dion Talk.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.